Let's talk about energy levels. Tuning into your client's energy levels can help you be more in tune with how they are feeling. You've got to develop this sense of really knowing what's going on with them. Sometimes your clients are going to they're going to be down. That happens. We all have natural cycles in our lives where we feel up, then we feel down. Feeling up all the time is usually not what you're going to encounter with your clients. It may be that they schedule a meeting with you only when they're going to feel great, or maybe they feel great when they're working with you because you bring that to the table, and that's fine. But when you tune into your client's energy levels, this can help you become more in tune with how they're feeling, because usually the energy levels are going to have an ebb and flow. They're going to wax and wane. They're going to come and go. They're going to go up and down. And you're going to notice these cycles in many cases, or perhaps certain things cause their energy levels to go down. So being in tune is going to help you a lot. And taking this beyond energy levels, you really need to tune into your clients in general. And it kind of goes back to what we talked about with using their major modality to talk to them, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, talking their language, understanding where they're coming from, and so forth. If you understand this, then you have a way to communicate with them. Also, if you're revved up, ready to go, and they're having a low moment in their energy, you need to be aware of this. So your job is not just to be this high energy person all the time and saying, let's go, and just steamrolling through everything, unless they want that, of course. Your job is to be more in tune with what's going on with them. Remember, it's not good enough for just you to go along for the ride. You need to bring them along. That's what they're paying you for. Let's be successful. Take me with you is what they're saying. Show me how to do this. So if they're not up for something, then you need to realize that you need to work within their energy levels. Sometimes you're going to work with athletes, in which case energy levels are very important. You need to make sure that you understand where they are. Sometimes you're going to work perhaps with people who are ill, or people who are elderly, or people who like to sleep in late. You're proposing getting up early, and that's going contrary to what they even believe in, and you're causing their energy levels to diminish. So be aware of their energy levels. Tune into them. And by tuning into that, you're going to tune into most of the things about them. Listen to how they talk and use intuition, meaning your intuition, and communication when necessary. So how they talk is going to give you an indication. It's going to be a symptom of their energy levels. If they're talking one day about conquering the world, and the next day they're talking about lounging around their homes, sitting on their couch, watching TV, well, that's fine. You've got to realize that not every day is going to be conquer the world day for them. Sometimes their energy level is going to be low or different. Maybe they have high energy on the weekends to go boating, not to conquer the world. So you need to tune into them. By tuning into their energy levels and listening to how they talk and using your intuition, which in many cases is just your common sense from your experience about how people are, then you are going to gain tremendously in how to deal with them, how to work with them. So use intuition and communication when necessary. Perhaps you need to communicate that you don't feel that they're up for something that day. Now, if you don't feel up for something, I'm sorry, but that really doesn't matter, because your job is to be up for what they're up for anytime. So your energy levels, unfortunately, are not priority. And sometimes you're going to have to just push through something or power through something. Maybe you didn't get much sleep last night and you have to work with this client today, and they want to go out and they do want to conquer the world today. Well, guess what? That's what you're going to do. That's what's happening. That's what's going to happen that day, whether you really appreciate it or not. So you need to put on your game face in those cases and power through it and make it happen. Your job is to at least match their energy level so that you're not bringing them down. If you're bringing them down, then you've got a situation which is negative. You always have to match their energy level or rise above it and bring them up to yours. You are the person who is inspiring them and motivating them. So you need to go into that situation always looking, feeling, and acting. Sometimes you're going to be acting, sometimes you're not going to feel it, but you're going to have to put every best foot you have forward at the same time. Everything you've got going on, you're going to have to put it forward. Sometimes you're not going to have it going on at all, and that's okay. You're going to put it forward anyway. So your energy level should match theirs or exceed theirs, but listen to how they talk. Use your intuition, which is really usually common sense and experience, and use your communication when necessary so that you can figure out what they need from you and how you can benefit them. Use your energy level to inspire and encourage your clients. Now, not every client is going to want the used car salesman to show up every day. Hey, how's it going? Isn't it a wonderful day? How can I help you today? Too much of a good thing is, of course, a negative thing. You can work against yourself. So you've got to realize what your clients want. Now, eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to be you. You will be revealed. You will be yourself eventually. And what's going to happen at that point, after usually a year or so, is that you will draw clients to you who want to work with you. They know about you. They know the way you generally work with clients. And they're going to choose whether to work with you or not. And at that point, you probably don't care. You probably think, hey, if they want to work with me, great. Here's what I offer. If they don't, that's fine. Once you get yourself into that position, that's great. That's the rock star status of life coaches, and you will eventually get there. However, most of what I'm talking about is for a beginning life coach. When you're first starting out, you're going to have to give a little. You're going to have to sometimes put on a different persona for them, for their benefit, because that's your job. It's your job to bring energy to the table. It's your job to be positive. There's never a time where you being negative will be beneficial. Never. Even when you're at rock star status in the coaching world, there will never be a time when a negative attitude on your part is acceptable. Never. However, the degree to which you turn this up can be adjusted and should be adjusted. If you're working with clients initially and they really don't know what to expect, and you're going in there with this almost cheerleader attitude, and you've got the pom-poms waving basically in their face, and you're having them do cheers, they're not going to appreciate that. That's not really what they want, perhaps. So you need to tone it down a little bit. You need to make sure that you're not becoming a nuisance to them, that you're not becoming annoying to them, that you're inspiring them and encouraging them in the way that they want to be inspired and encouraged. If they see someone coming in who seems to be the stereotypical cheesy car salesman or cheesy car saleswoman, they are going to, in many cases, not really appreciate that. A little bit of that is fine, but really what happens here is that you learn how to work with people by experience. You're going to make mistakes. I encourage you to fail harder, faster. I encourage you to get out there and make mistakes with clients. Not huge mistakes. I don't want to see you ruin things and ruin your reputation, but I encourage you to try different things. That's how you find out what works. Try to pump it up. See if that works. Try to pump it up even more. See if that works, and pay attention to what's going on with your client, because the main thing is how you affect them. Use positive language. You're telling your clients to use positive language. You need to use it too. You need to talk positively about what's going on. And many times when you work with clients, they're going to get to know you on a personal level. They're going to want to know something about you in most cases. Hey, how's the wife? Hey, how's the husband? Hey, how's this going? How are your other clients doing? How's your fishing trip this weekend? Who knows? They're going to probe a little bit in most cases. Make sure that when you are talking about yourself, you're kind of off the clock here. They're kind of just getting to know you informally. Make sure you don't drop the ball. Make sure you don't show them this negativity that you carry around. Now, you may have some things you need to work on yourself. I remember taking a counseling class at the University of Florida. I was in a graduate program, and I was working on learning counseling information. at the University of Florida, and one of the professors said that you need to know your monsters. That's what he called it, know your monsters. Maybe in the back of your mind, you do think negatively. And maybe for you, it's a constant struggle not to share that with the world. Maybe you think negatively. It doesn't mean you're not going to make a great life coach. It really doesn't mean that. One of the best marriage counselors I know has been divorced and remarried 6 times. 6 times. One of the best weight loss people I know is overweight. And I'm talking about a lot of weight. I'm talking about extra 300 pounds. But guess what? The person who's been divorced 6 times knows how to work with people. He's had 6 marriages. All of them failed. But he knows how to help other people. For some reason, he's not getting his own act together. The person who's overweight doesn't seem to know how to lose weight herself, but she helps other people. Know your monsters. It doesn't mean that you're not going to work on it. It doesn't mean that you're not willing to work on it. But if there's something about you that you know is contrary to what you preach, if you're not really practicing what you preach, I don't want you to count yourself out of the game at all. I want you to realize that that's your quote-unquote monster. It makes it sound bad, but you know what I mean. It's that thing about you that you'd rather not have them know. Maybe it's a negative attitude that you carry around. I want you to understand it, respect it, but keep it in its proper place. Rather than revealing this negative side of yourself or this side of yourself that's not really good with money or what have you, I want you to keep everything positive. I want you to keep everything positive for your client across the board. This is very important. It's important that they understand and respect what you're bringing to the table. You can undo everything you do pretty quickly if you get off the records and go have a beer with them and you say, yeah, I really don't think this positively, and I hope this works out with you. But as for me, I got this relationship thing, this financial thing, and so forth, and I've never really been a positive person. If you're starting to talk like that, catch yourself and change it. Encourage energy-enhancing activities such as exercise and hobbies. Not everything you do with your client is going to be dead on. Remember, the guy who started Microsoft, one of the guys, Bill Gates, he reads a lot of magazines that have nothing to do with computers or even with business. He likes to be well-rounded and feed his brain with a lot of different information. So, not every exercise they do has to be about what they're doing, what they're working on. Not every activity or hobby that they engage in has to do or needs to have to do with what they're doing, with what they're working on. There is tremendous benefit to the energy level of a person when they take a break from all that, when they allow their mind to eat a candy bar, if you will, when they allow themselves to go off the beaten path that many times they've been beating themselves up with. Just trying, sometimes doing, and achieving, but it's still sometimes the daily grind for them. Letting them take a break from that is going to increase their energy levels tremendously. I remember a few years back, a friend of mine gave me a book, and it was a book by, I'm not remembering the author right now, but I believe it was called Still Life with Woodpecker, something like that. It was a book by a guy who I started reading it, and I realized pretty quickly that it was fiction, and the guy writes a lot of odd fiction. A lot of odd things were happening in the book. The title's kind of odd, isn't it? Still Life with Woodpecker, I believe that was the name of the title. It wasn't necessarily even about a bird, per se. It was just a bunch of, and I said to my friend, what is this nonsense? What is this? I'm not going to read this. And he said to me something that stuck with me. This was about 10 years ago this happened. I still have the book to remind myself. He said to me, sometimes your brain needs a candy bar. That's where I got that. And I thought, wow, what a great concept. Sometimes when you're dieting or trying to eat right or actually going through with it and eating right and making it happen, you need a candy bar every now and then. You need to take a little break. When you're going through life and pushing, sometimes you need to do something that's completely unrelated, that seems counterproductive, that seems to you like a waste of time. Well, many of these things that seem like a waste of time are an opportunity for your brain to free itself up from the grind you've been enforcing on it. And when that happens, your energy levels can raise tremendously. So share this with your clients.